Welcome to the live stream. Let's get this going. I hope you can hear me well. So for those of you who have no idea what's going to happen, I will be optimizing KeeperRL using dungeons sent by other players. I have submissions from Soft Monster and from Rarasek. I haven't tried them yet, but hopefully they will tank the FPS in the game, and then I will run the game using the profiler, and I will try to fix this. So maybe we can start with Rarasek's dungeons. He sent me two dungeons. We have to wait until it compiles. Okay, done compiling. Let's see what we have here. Oh, it loaded Soft Monster's dungeon. Okay, let's start with Soft Monster then. What do we have here? We have a lot of chickens. And okay. So they're moving very slowly, and due to changes in the last patch, when the game starts lagging really badly, it doesn't freeze, but instead the creatures will start moving in this very weird manner. I'll turn this off now. I actually need to recompile the game using different settings in order to start profiling. Unfortunately, compiling the game on my laptop takes a few minutes, so maybe I will get myself a glass of water and I'll be back in a couple of minutes. Okay, come on, compile faster. So can I see who is here actually watching us? Lol Boys, High Warlord Booty Club, Faust Blackheart, Fluffmaster. I don't recognize any of you, you probably have different nicknames on Discord. So we will see how this whole idea goes. It's going to be pretty spontaneous because I haven't even looked at those submissions, so I don't know if they will, if it's actually something that I can fix or not, or yeah, you know, some things you just can't fix. Sometimes it's just too much for the CPU, so we'll see about that. And if I'm finished too quickly, or if it's, you know, maybe it's super easy to fix, or I decide quickly that it's not fixable, then I will try to do something else. Maybe I will fix some bugs, or I will show you what I've been working on recently. We will see. So I'll try to make sure that something interesting is going on. Have I seen any interesting bugs pop up? I've heard something about chickens being hostile. That's certainly very interesting. Haven't looked into it yet. I have fixed some bugs recently, but I don't remember. I have bad short-term memory when it comes to that kind of stuff. Once it's fixed, it's out of my memory, to be honest. It's still compiling. So we have 5 viewers. That's pretty spectacular. Better than I was hoping for in the first live stream. I hope that Rarasek is here or will join us soon, because I will be using his dungeons. Okay, I think it's finally finished. So let's see, I have to launch the game. In the meantime, I have this profiler software that's going to connect to the game, hopefully. Connect. Capture. So now this profiler is grabbing runtime data from the game. Now I stopped it because that's enough. It actually grabs a lot of data every second. So if you wait too long, then it's going to overflow the RAM. So we don't want that to happen. But actually, just a few seconds of this lagging game is enough to probably see what's going on. Okay, so I can kill this now. So what we have here, the horizontal axis is the timeline. So this is where I started capturing the data. So this is all the game running. It's actually, okay, actually too much data, 10 seconds of data. And now we have various function runs here. So at the top you have kind of top level functions that are running. And you can see that every frame the game updates, and then it refreshes, refresh view updates the, renders the game to your monitor, basically. So I'm trying to figure out now what the issue is here. It looks like every update takes about 20 milliseconds. This function makeMove is just movement of one specific creature. So this one here is one creature moving. This one here is another creature moving. So we can see that one creature usually takes half a millisecond, but sometimes takes a bit more. So individually, it doesn't look like they are taking a lot of time, but maybe there are just so many of these chickens that it's just overwhelming the game. I haven't looked how many chickens are there actually, but it does look like most of the time, at least looking at this, is spent in this function update minion visibility. Alright, so according to this profiler, update minion visibility takes 25% of all running time. Oh, there is Ranasek. Hello. So I think it's a good time to take a look at update minion visibility. There it is. So what does this function do? So when you have a dungeon, you have some you're playing some faction, you have a bunch of creatures, and they all have individual visibility, right? Every creature can see some tiles around it. But when you are playing the faction, you want to see the combined visibility of all these creatures. So what this function does is it tracks the combined visibility. So here it takes the visible tiles from that one creature, and let's see if that function is actually lagging. So okay, so we can see that when update minion visibility is run, it spends about 20% of the time on get visible tiles. So this is our function that we are profiling. So it spends about 20% of its time here. And this function, get visible tiles, retrieves the visibility for that specific creature, right? And this one runs another function called get visible tiles, which I assume would be this one. Now we have no data on what this function is doing, but it looks like this one is doing quite a lot of work, because so this function fetches visible tiles from a specific position, and normally they are cached, they are stored somewhere, so it's not recalculating them all the time. But even though they are cached, it always runs some simple transformation on them, because it stores just the coordinates, and it actually transforms the coordinates to coordinates plus the level that they're on. So it forms them into a list of positions, from list of coordinates to list of positions. But that takes time. Oh, actually this one also runs a transformation. So even before the other transformation, we actually run some transformation here. So it's no wonder that every call is quite slow. It's theoretically quite possible to make this function run really fast, because if you run it once, you store the result, and before something happens, like a wall is built or a wall is destroyed or something like that, you can always reuse that result. So you can see that this is kind of not optimal. This is something that could be fixed. But as I said, this is only this one actually, get visible tiles. It says here that it takes 9% of all the execution time, which is quite a lot. But it will actually be a little bit difficult to fix this, so I will look at the rest of this function and see if maybe there are some lower hanging fruits to fix. So update minion visibility. We have get visible tiles, then it runs update. Okay, so we are back to the main function here. Oh, go away. We are back to update minion visibility. We have get visible tiles. This one uses 20% of this function. Update uses another 20%. And now we loop through these tiles. We try to add it to our aggregated set of visible positions for all creatures. So this is what add known tile does. And you can see that this is the loop, right? It's a lot of small function calls. That's add known tile, add to memory, add known tile, add to memory, and so on. So it does add known tile, then adds to memory, and this whole loop here this is what it is. So that's about 60% of this function's runtime. So let's see what add known tile does. It checks whether this tile is already known. So if it's already known, then if it's already... Oh, sorry, this is not visibility. This is actually... Okay, so what this loop does, this one here updates the visibility, which, as the name suggests, this is the data structure that keeps all the visible tiles that are visible right now. So as you know, in the game, the tiles that are currently visible are kind of brighter. They are normal color, and the ones that are not currently visible but are kept in memory, so they were visible in the past, they are kind of darker, right? So this one here keeps the currently visible tiles, and this loop here, it updates the memory. So it needs to process the currently visible tiles in order to know which tiles to remember, right? Maybe you just took one of your creatures and you walked somewhere to a new place. It needs to add all the tiles that you saw along the way to the memory, right? So this is what it's doing. So it's asking, okay, I'm going to add this tile. It's checking if it's already known. If it's already known, then don't worry about it. And also, sometimes something might have changed at a tile, right? So maybe there was while you were building your dungeon, I don't know, someone set a forest on fire and the whole forest burned down. So you won't actually see that until you take your creature and you walk there. And so when you see a tile, the game checks, oh, you see that tile again, we need to see if something has changed in that tile. Maybe the tree that was there burned down. So this is what this is doing. Unfortunately, I have no data on what's happening inside that function. I only know how much this one takes. So here it's checking maybe this tile was already updated in this turn, then forget about it. Here due to recent addition of the higher Z levels, it actually needs to update the tiles that are below it. So this is what it's doing here. But let's see. These functions are actually, they don't take a lot of time. They take like 100 nanoseconds, 50 nanoseconds. That's not a lot of time. The problem is that there are lots of them. And there are lots of them because SoftMonster put a lot of chickens into a large open area, right? So each chicken can see a lot of space around it, and the game needs to update every turn. For every chicken, it needs to go through all these tiles and see if something changed, if this is a tile that we didn't see before, and so on. So it's kind of repeating a lot of similar work needlessly, but on the other hand, it's quite hard to do it in a smarter way. So I think that there's a small fix that could be possible here. So if we have a bunch of chickens in this large open area, and we take the first chicken, we look through all the tiles that it can see, we update them, then we go to the next chicken, which is like right next to it, and we go through all the tiles that it can see, but these are most likely overlap with all the tiles that the other chickens can see, right? So we have already updated them just a moment ago during the same turn. So probably we don't have to do that again during this turn. And then we would save a lot of time not running this loop through for all these tiles, right? The question is this easy to achieve? Maybe figuring out which tiles to update and which tiles not to update would be actually slower than just straight updating all of them, right? Okay, let's run the game. Again, let's take a look at these chickens. See what they're doing there. Okay, that's really a lot of chickens. That's kind of the worst possible scenario in the game, and it's something that I knew quite well. Large open area with lots of creatures. This will kill your FPS really quick. So visibility takes 26% of the runtime. Get visible creatures. This one takes 10%. This function is for the purpose of, AI, like combat AI or spellcasting AI. Every creature needs to know if there's an enemy close by. So this function is what returns that enemy. And again, if you have a lot of creatures in a large open area, it has to process all of them. See who is an enemy, who isn't, and so on. So that one is taking 16%. So this one, 26%, 16%. Yeah, so this is what's causing the slowdown. So get visible creatures. Let's see that. can see if not blind. So this one is calling this function repeatedly, and I'm trying to figure out where that is in the code. Oh, here it is. So this function basically checks if one creature can see another creature, assuming that it's not blind. Because blindness is something, checking if a creature is blind takes kind of a lot of time, because it needs to check buffs, debuffs, you know, various weird things that can happen in the game. So the blindness check is done before that, in order not to do it repeatedly in this function call. That doesn't matter. Let's see if we can see this creature. So first we check if we can see its position. No, sorry. Here we check if we can see the position of that creature. And here we, in this function, we check if maybe, you know, creature is invisible or hidden or stuff like that. Sometimes we can see the position, we can see the creature. So we can see this function call here. Can see position if not blind. Then we go to see position. I don't know if there is anything we can optimize here. It's just a lot of calls to this function, you know. If you have a lot of calls, then whatever you do, that function is going to take a lot of time. You know, this is a really hard one. This chicken dungeon. It's not really any specific bug or, you know, slowdown. It's just too much. And this is this code that I've been looking through right now. It's actually, I've already spent a lot of time optimizing it before, so squeezing out more from it, I know that it's not trivial, you know, it's not some easy fix. It's going to take some work. So maybe let's put it off for later, or maybe for some other time, and let's see what Rarasek has sent us. Okay, so we have two save files. Let's see the logger tasks save file. Oh, I already moved it here. Logger. Oh, yeah, by the way, because there were only two contestants, both of you win the main prize. So, you know, just for participating. So thanks a lot for taking part in the contest, and I really appreciate it. So both of you can, both of you win a piece of KeeperRL merchandise, and you can choose whatever you want, and it can be a t-shirt, mug, or what else do we have there? There's a bunch of things that you can choose from, so we will do that in private, I think. And then once you get it, then you can show it off to the rest, and maybe next time there will be more submissions. Not that I'm complaining, because fewer submissions means that the game is quite well optimized. Okay, so what do we have here? So this one is more interesting because we only have 2 guys here, and we have 33 Z levels. It's actually, okay. One issue that I can see here is the FPS is showing 15, but you can tell that the game is actually not running at all, because if you look at the turn counter, then it's running about, I don't know, 1 turn per 10 seconds, so I need to fix the FPS counter to actually show the real FPS of the game engine, not the refresh rate, because that's something that happened in the recent update, is that even if the game lags really badly, the refresh rate actually is quite good. It's just that your creatures are not really moving a lot. And they're kind of shaking. That's something that doesn't look very good. Okay. So maybe I'm going to close this, run it from scratch. Connecting. Okay, so these highlighted tiles, this is a setting, this is a dev setting where I can see the whole map, basically. And these tiles are someone's territory, either your dungeon's territory or some other monster's territory. In this case, the whole Z level is someone's territory for some reason. It's probably shouldn't happen. Anyway, you can turn it off. Oh, there you go. Now we can see a wholly different story here, because every game update is taking about 100 milliseconds. Oh, okay. Okay, this is not territory. Some of it was territory. Okay, now I know what's going on. So Rarasek ordered his Cyclops to dig out the whole level. That's why everything was highlighted. Actually, the profiler is lagging. That's not very good for the profiler. So game update is taking 100 milliseconds. But that still doesn't explain why the Cyclops was moving every 10 seconds. Maybe updating the view takes so much time. Not sure what this update view function even does. I need to see it. Okay, here we go. This is update view. And it's doing get items. Not very descriptive function name, get items. Whatever. There's no get items here. Position get items. Equipment get items. There are a lot of functions called get items in the code. But it's mostly mostly actual physical in-game items. So I don't know why that would take a lot of time in this specific scenario. So as you can see, update view takes about 100 milliseconds, and most of the work that it's doing is calling... Oh, okay, that's a different function. This is priority task. Okay, that's something that's closer to what we're experiencing, because it's processing some tasks here. This priority task. That's weird. I thought that it was calling get items all the time. Okay, so it's calling get items here, just at the beginning, and then the rest of the function is checking for some task priority. Get items. Yeah, this is not a lot of... There are only a few functions called get items, and some of them are not profiled. This one isn't. Position get items. So this one, this is what's taking so much time. Now let's see what's calling it. The thing about these functions that you see here is I actually have to manually add them in the code. Manually select which ones are profiled. So, for example, this one is profiled, this one isn't. So when I have a function called get items, like there it is, but I actually don't know what's calling it. No idea. So the function that's calling it, maybe that's where the problem is. So I'm going to go through all the functions that are calling it and see if I can maybe figure out which one it is, and if not, then I can add profiling to that function, or to all of them. So this one is already profiled. This one is profiled. Okay. Add profiling for this one. This one probably not reviving any corpses here, so I will ignore this one. Air blast, no. Okay, this one is profiled. Get pickup options. Profile this one. Profiled. Get all items. Implementation. Whatever. Profile this one. What I'm trying to achieve right now is figure out who's calling get items so much. I'm going to recompile the game. Hopefully it's going to go faster than last time. Okay. Lagger. Okay, so now we know that get items is being called by KeeperRL. And that one is taking 10% of our runtime, so that's quite a lot. So where is get KeeperRL? Use somewhere here. No. Here. So KeeperRL is a function that is run, I think, in every frame. It goes through all of your enemies, all the factions that you have conquered, and see if you can pillage any items from there. So if you conquer an enemy, and even after that, if any items are dropped, they're gonna show up in the pillage dialog. That's why it's constantly checking for any new items. It's actually not processing the items in any way. It only checks if there is at least one item, and then it shows the pillage button in the conquered enemies list. No, sorry, in the right here. Oh, so it's checking if it should show this little button here with the pillage option, and only when I click this button, then that's when it's going to fetch all the items for me. So this is also something that seems to, thinking logically, it shouldn't be taking so much time, checking every frame, going through all the tiles of that enemy to check if there is even a single item there. So let's see if we can make it faster. And now every individual function call isn't even that slow, as you can see, because it only takes maybe 20 nanoseconds. In theory, we could try to remember maybe if there were any items there, and maybe check only every, I don't know, 20 turns or something. But it's not a great design, because you have to keep some extra state. You have to update it, and then you might not have the most up-to-date information. Like someone pauses the game, and an item was dropped and it's not going to appear. So it might cause all kinds of tiny bugs. I prefer something simpler that that just at a glance you can just say that it's working and that there are no bugs. So I'm trying to think of maybe a better design. But it's definitely quite a big problem, because if you have a few of those enemies, say you loaded maybe 4 retired dungeons and you looted them all, and you see even after looting them, it's still gonna be checking for any item there. So even if you looted them all, it's still gonna take a lot of your running time. The game is still gonna take a lot of time just going through the territories of these enemies, looking for that single item that you can loot. And these territories can get big. Yeah, I know there isn't any simple solution to this, I think. So this is something that maybe I will revisit later. Maybe think about when I'm walking my dog or something. let's see what's going on in the rest of this function. So we have this function called isPriorityTask, and it's being called a lot in update view. This is all isPriorityTask calls. All right. Priority tasks. So priority tasks is, we have all these tasks that you created, like digging, picking stuff up, or even creatures have created for themselves, like going to train or picking up their equipment. And some of these tasks have priority. You can manually prioritize them using the dispatch imp button or whatever it's called, and it's being this list of priority tasks is being kept here, and it's being that we have all these queries. Is this task a priority? Is this task a priority? And so on. But again, we don't know who's calling this function. We don't know who's making these queries. So I'm going to go through all functions that potentially can call this function. And see if we can figure out who's calling them. Maybe this one. Mouse. Oh, by the way, oh, never mind. Oh, yeah, this one. It's probably this one. Probably this function that's calling it all the time. Let's do a quick recompilation just to confirm it. So the pillage thing was unrelated to this one. Not sure why it actually showed up in Rarasek's dungeon specifically, because I haven't seen that issue pop up before. Maybe that the retired dungeon that he has is somehow special for some reason. Yeah, refresh game info. So refresh game info is grabbing it's a function that grabs all this data that you see here. Like all that stuff here. This function grabs it and sends it over to the part of the game engine that draws things on the screen, creates the user interface. So part of what this function is doing is filling up. Oh, come on, go away. It's filling up this little menu here. Oh. So you can see where this is going. So this is a menu with all the tasks that are, present in the system. And because Rarasek has ordered to dig out entire levels, we have a lot of tasks here. And if tasks are prioritized, then they are highlighted green. So this function here, refresh game info, goes through every task right here. Get all tasks, goes through all the tasks, see if the task has an owner, and it's going to add the owner, and then it checks if the task is a priority and so on. Task get description. So it's doing that every frame, and one of the issues is there are lots of tasks and it takes a lot of time, and the other issue is it's doing that even if you don't have this window opened. Why is it doing that? It's useless information basically. It's spending a lot of time fetching information that's not displayed anywhere. And it's spending 72%, no, right here. It's spending 72% of running time of the whole game fetching data that's not being displayed anywhere, unless you open this window here. So we should probably do something about this. Maybe this will be the thing that I will actually manage to fix during the live stream. Let's see if I can try to fix. I first need to erase this dialog here. Okay, it's gone now. I don't know, is anyone actually using this list of tasks? It's kind of, especially if it's so full that it doesn't even scroll because it's lagging so badly. I'm thinking maybe I should kind of just stop adding stuff to it after like, I don't know, 200 tasks or something. That's going to fix this issue super easily. Let's see. Yeah, maybe I should just remove it from the game. I'll think about that later. But stopping, limiting it to 200 items is perfectly sensible. Even if someone likes to use, likes to go through all these tasks and so on, I'm sure they're not going to go through more than 200. It can be useful sometimes if some of your creatures are stuck or something and you don't know if, like I sometimes use it when I'm debugging something, but it doesn't need to be in the main game for me. I can just enable it in the debug build. Okay, let's load up Lagger. Oh! Look how quickly he's moving. That's a huge improvement. Now it's actually perfectly playable. Success. Yeah, I think we can live with just 200 items on there. Alright, so big thanks to Rarasek. but he has another one for us. So let's see what the issue is here. If you loot the very last item from the keeper, the game will lag. Okay, let's see. So it's moving quite quickly now. Alright. We pillage all the items. Okay, so even the act of pillaging takes quite a bit of time. No idea why. No, it's working quite alright. Oh, okay, so the frame rate actually dropped a bit. Okay, now it's lagging, I think. So we looted that dungeon, and now it's lagging, right? And the reason why this is happening, because as you saw in the when I was inspecting the previous save file, every frame the game will go through all the whole territory of the other dungeon, looking for that one item, like checking if there is at least one item that's present. And if there is, when we find the first one, then it's alright, there are some items and we can draw the pillage button. But if there are no items, then we will have to go through the whole territory, right? So that's why it's taking longer after the enemy has been looted. That's the reason for this slowdown. So let's see if I can figure out a way to fix this. If there is no obvious way, then we will probably end the live stream, because it's already quite long, and for the first time I don't want to make it too long. Maybe it will be too boring or something. Maybe next time. We will see. But let's see if there's maybe any easy fix for this. So the issue here is that the game doesn't really track items globally. If you want to find an item or see if there's any specific item, or if there's any item somewhere, you have to go through all the positions and inspect them. And that's why this is taking such a long time, especially if there is a large territory on which you're looking. Oh. It would be really good to make this fast, because you're doing the same thing over and over every frame, and it usually doesn't change in any way. So this is really a kind of waste of resources, right? But I don't have any great idea how to fix this. Yes, I think we're gonna end the live stream, and I actually plan on doing these live streams more often, because it's something that might motivate me to try some new things, or just motivate me to get to work. So maybe, I don't know if it's going to happen every week, or I don't know, every 2 weeks or every month, and I don't know what I will be doing. Maybe I'll wait for some comments from you. If you enjoyed, watching me profiling the game, then I can maybe revisit this on the next live stream. Maybe I will have some new ideas on how to fix these things. And if this was boring, then maybe I can try doing something else. Maybe adding some content or showing you new stuff in the game or whatever, just let me know, and we can do something else next stream. We can figure it out. So it was great to make this live stream for you. It was the first live stream I've ever made, so I'm happy that technically everything went right. I hope that you found this interesting. So thanks a lot for hanging out here, and see you in a week or two or more. Bye.